Seward Park's Torii was a welcome gateway, especially for a child. Unaware of her parents' painful memories of World War II incarceration at Camp Tulake in Northern California, preschooler Don Taniguchi found that weekends in the early 1950s promised a family frolic. "We used to take joyrides on Sunday afternoon after church," Diane said in a 2015 video, citing drives from their home in the Publix Hotel in what is now called the Chinatown International District to a South Seattle peninsular paradise, Seward Park. Dad called it Seward Park because he couldn't say R's and his pronunciation was still very Japanese right after the war. "But those were great times," she said. "It was carefree. I was 4 or 5 years old. Not a worry in the world." Welcoming the Taniguchis and myriad other park visitors was a cultural symbol that Diane really loved, an imposing reddish span modeled on entrance structures at Shinto shrines in Japan, called a Torii. The word means bird perch, but such structures have become known more broadly as gateways to extraordinary spaces. The wooden Seward Park Torii had a 50-year-old life, starting on University Street downtown at the 1934 International Golden Potlatch and bearing a pro-trade sign, "Seattle, America's Gateway to the Orient." The following spring, the Torii, sans sign, found a verdant site at Seward Park's entry isthmus, joining other Japanese elements, including cherry trees and an 8-ton stone lantern. It oversaw festivals and countless informal meadow gatherings through mid-1984, when Seattle Parks removed it due to decades of decay. In 2011, the park's centennial organizers vowed to build a new version. Fueled by $360,000 in grants and donations, a 20-foot-tall basalt and cedar replacement stands today in a plaza 20 feet north of the original's tree-confined concrete foundations. At an April 2nd ceremony, a crowd of 200 enjoyed musicians, dancers, and speakers exulting beneath the edifice. Officiants included Don Taniguchi, 76, honoring his younger sister, Diane, a preservationist who helped raise money for the new Torii but died of cancer in 2016. Don's thoughts also drifted to their dad, originally from Hawaii, and Mom of Tacoma, who both stayed silent about their camp challenges and the complexity of their new life while working all the time managing the Publix. "They didn't talk about the hardships," Don says. "I guess it hurt them too much." From youthful eyes, he says, Seward Park and its Torii bespoke family time, a cheerful refuge. "You felt a little prejudice, like somebody getting in line ahead of you, but you really didn't understand why," he says. "You didn't think about those things. You just played. You cherish those days now." In our first then photo, with cherry blossoms abloom and the Seward Park Torii to the north behind him, Don Taniguchi, 7 or 8 years old, stands near the park's entry in 1953 or 1954. The Torii was moved to this site in 1935. In our second then photo, a still image taken from family home movie footage, the Torii stands in its original spot on University Street between 4th and 5th Avenues for the 1934 International Golden Potlatch. The sign at top reads, "Seattle, America's Gateway to the Orient." Sponsored by the Seattle Japanese Chamber of Commerce, the Torii's total cost was just $172. In our third then photo, the reddish-hued Seward Park Torii stands in 1962. Today, at the April 2nd ceremony to dedicate the new Torii, Don Taniguchi stands about 20 feet north of his childhood pose and holds a portrait of his late sister Diane, who raised funds for the project. Flanking him are the concrete foundations of the original span. The event was organized by Friends of Seward Park, Seattle Parks Foundation, and Seattle Parks. Drummers from the School of Taiko kicked off the April 2nd ceremony, and Mayor Bruce Harrell spoke as well. Being of biracial background, Japanese American and Black, I try to find out what's common in cultures, he said. That's what this Torii represents, oneness. This is Seattle at its best.